Alrighty guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're leaving off where I literally got assassinated as a judge, which was crazy. So let's get into it. We're gonna ask him for a special guard. I don't have that money. So if I do this again, it just, because I remember it was 102. Does it do the same? Oh, I passed it that time. Okay. Oof. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. I got assassinated last time. Oh my god. Alright, what are we at? 3:55. Let's end the day. That was crazy. We would prefer to not have to warn you, but you must release Daniel Morgan, otherwise your wife and children will pay the price. If Daniel Morgan is sentenced, be prepared to watch the destruction of your family, Judge. You're not even offering me money, and that looks like a certain man from a long time ago. Okay, let's see. What are you even here for? Daniel Morgan, you have a criminal record. Your mental health test is positive, and you're a citizen. You're 57 years old. Murder. The incident occurred last week in the evening at the newly opened restaurant called Bandburger. 5 consecutive gunshots were heard inside the restaurant, and health and police teams were quickly dispatched to the scene. In the initial investigation conducted following by a report by restaurant staff, it was determined that a customer named Martin Hardware died at the scene. Since the restaurants had just started operations, it was found that the security cameras were not active and therefore the incident could not technically be recorded. However, employees and customers present in the restaurant during the incident described the attacker, whose face they clearly saw based on the composite sketch created from these descriptions. The suspect, Daniel Morgan, was taken into custody. I was on the evening shift and the restaurant was very crowded. 2 men at table 17 were shouting and fighting. I said to my colleague, should we call security? As soon as I said that, we heard a gunshot and everyone hit the ground. When I lifted my head, the man had been shot. My spouse and I were eating at the table right next to it. However, our attention was constantly drawn to the noise coming from the table behind us. One of the 2 men sitting there looked very strange. He reminded me of someone I really disliked. Just as the burgers arrived at our table, the guns went off. The worst part is that in all the chaos, we couldn't even eat the burgers we paid for. They should refund our money. People think I'm guilty just because my face seems unlikable to them. They even want to kill me, but I'm an angelic person. That day, I simply went and ate my meal peacefully. When I heard gunshots, I said, "Bon appetit, everyone," and ran away. That's all there is to it. The photo fitted the killer drawn by eyewitness. Well, it does look pretty similar, I will say that. Considering I just got a death threat, does loving someone cost $50,000? Didn't your conscience ever hurt when you made this decision? I did whatever he wanted. What I got in return was nothing, and a $50,000 fine on top of that. I cannot find words to say. Okay. I don't want my family to die. Murder, here are the charges. Uh, 26 years in jail. I'm an honest judge. Judge dazed. You know who I am. Cases just keep getting more and more crazy, bruh. 35% and 15. So if I hire him, it lowers the assassination bar by 25%, but I wonder if that's permanently. My arrest is fine. It's just my assassination bar is really high. Cool. Cool. I just saw that his mental health test did not pass. Cool. You're taking a grippy sock vacation. You only gave me $100 this time, bruh. I think it should have been another 5. Cool. Yeah! All right, let's go outside. Let's go to the bar. Let's drink some wine. Thank you. We're leaving. Let's go outside. Let's go to the casino. Blackjack. Play a hand of blackjack. Let's see what we got. I think 17 is pretty decent. Oof. One more. Yeah, whatever. All right, let's get out of here. I don't want to waste my entire fortune here. Gato. All right, let's end the day. All right, what do we got here? The compensation lawsuit filed by Anna Merrow against Ravenson Construction and Building Company. About 10 days ago, Jeremy Merrow, okay, which I'm assuming is her husband, who was working at a construction site belonging to the Ravenstone Company, fell from the 13th floor to the ground while walking on the outer part of the scaffold and lost his life. Merrow's daughter, Anna Merrow, claims that the accident was a preventable death and that the company neglected basic safety standards, demanding $140,000 in compensation. The technical inspection report prepared after the incident was submitted to the court. Statements were taken from the workers on site, and safety protocols were reviewed. The defense attorney, Ronald Bexley, is attending the hearing on behalf of the company. On the morning of the accident, I lost my father. I had gone to work as usual. Around noon, a number from the company called and said there has been a critical accident. Come immediately. When I arrived at the hospital, they told me we had already lost him. The scene I saw when I entered the morgue the next day still haunts me. My father was an experienced worker who had been in this industry for years. Someone like him would not fall like that at a construction site where proper safety measures were taken. His coworkers said that the safety harness were not attached that day. The company postponed purchasing new safety equipment to cut costs. Doing something like this for money is unacceptable. I want those responsible to be held accountable. The deceased employee was certainly a valuable staff member, but the accident occurred entirely due to individual negligence. He was in an area he was not assigned to that day, and because he climbed a scaffold without wearing safety equipment, the unfortunate event occurred. The company provides regular training to all employees. The safety officer had warned the workers that day, but it was found that Merrow had violated the rules on his own initiative. What? He was in an area he was not assigned to that day, and because he climbed the scaffold without wearing safety equipment, the unfortunate event occurred. The company provides regular training to all employees. The safety officer had warned the workers that day. It was found that Merrow had violated the rules on his own initiative. Around the construction site, there are only standard iron barriers. Most of the warning signs are damaged or knocked over. Although safety equipment, helmets, ropes, carabiners, etc. was available, it was observed that employees' inventory records were irregular. At the time of the incident, it was observed that most of the safety ropes of the personnel working on the upper levels of the scaffold were not properly connected. It was determined that some of the scaffold railings in the section where the deceased fell were loose and below standard. Even in the internal audit report conducted just one day before the incident, it was noted that high-altitude work equipment must be renewed. And digital? Nope. All right. It was decided the company violated safety obligations and must pay $140,000 in compensation to Anna Merrow while allowing the company's operation to continue. Due to the company being found highly at fault, it was decided that it must pay $140,000 in compensation and the construction activities be halted. It was concluded that the accident was entirely caused by the workers' personal negligence, and it was decided that the company has no compensation liability and may continue its operations. No. Due to the company being found highly at fault, it was decided that it must pay $140,000 in compensation and that the construction activities be halted. Because let's look at the notes, right? It was determined that some of the scaffold railings and the section where the deceased fell were loose and below standard. Even in the internal audit report conducted just 1 day before the incident, it was noted that the high altitude work equipment must be renewed, and they decided not to do that. So again. Guys, I don't like being assassinated. Okay, let's end the day. First, we're gonna come here, request special, accept. Cool. I completely forgot to do that too, so it's kind of my fault. It's a really cool aspect of the game, though. I really like that. All right, let's just end the day. Oh my God. We have Marcel Duvant, 39. He has a criminal record, his mental health test checks out, and he lives here. Last week, Liane Duvant went to the police station and reported that she had just been repeatedly subjected to physical violence by her husband, Marcel Duvant. Cops went to the couple's house on the same day, warned the suspect, and the situation was documented. The next morning, Liane called the police again and stated that her husband had become even more aggressive and attacked her. The teams that arrived at the scene detained Marcel Duvant, and the victim filed a complaint statements. So Leonelli, in the early years of our marriage, everything was very peaceful. However, for the past 2 years, my husband's anger had become uncontrollable. Okay, first raised voices, then pushing, and in recent months it turned into direct hitting. After what happened last week, I had no patience left. From the outside, it may have looked like minor arguments, but no one knows what happens at home. He even humiliated me in front of my family. Oh, his family. In the most recent incident yesterday, the controller he threw at my face broke my nose. I know this was not an accident. I forgave him many times, but I no longer feel safe. I am filing a complaint. I never wanted to hurt my wife. Yes, we had arguments, but it really upset me when she said I hit her intentionally. Sometimes my wife exaggerates situations. I love her. I don't want to hurt her. Let's look at the evidence. Okay. No digital. What are we looking at? Beating. Uh, 4 years in jail. Yeah, 4 years in jail. Gato. Done today. Bill passed. Penalty reduction has been arrived. Has been arrived? For criminals over 50 years of age. Okay. We have Liz Rowe, 19, and Ethan Rowe, 24. Both passed their test. One has a criminal record, one doesn't. Cybercrime. Banana Bake's daily automated transfer reports abnormal incoming payments were detected to a specific account, repeated 10 times, with the amount increasing by the same rate each time. This activity was noticed by experienced systems analysts who have worked at the bank for years, and during a routine check, it was observed that the transfers were regularly being routed to a single account. The account owner is listed as Ethan Rowe in the records. Due to this suspicious situation, the bank detained Ethan Rowe at his home, and after his statement, his sister Liz Rowe was also detained for questioning as another person who may have been involved with the transfer. This account is mine, but I wasn't actively using it. About 2 years ago, my sister Liz asked me to transfer an unused account to her because she couldn't open a new one in her name. I gave her my account. I had no knowledge of these money transfers. I don't know where the money came from or why my account was used. The last time I spoke to my sister was last year. I only got the bank account for my brother to save money a while ago. Money came into the account, but honestly, I don't know who sent it. I saw the notification, but didn't check the details. The claim that I had access to the bank system is not true. I just used the account and didn't do anything else. My brother is lying about me. So she thinks her brother told on her. Let's see what evidence we got. Bit number of the IP address to make a cyber attack on the bank. Correspondence of bit numbers to IP numbers. The IP address number belonging to Ethan Rowe. The IP address number belonging to Liz Rowe. Okay. So 101.0.11.00. 101.0.11.00. So it starts with 172. So the second part should be pretty telling. It's going to be 000. It's this one. 164. 254. 1. 164254. This doesn't match either one. Why didn't you notify the authorities after abnormal inflow of money into the account? I noticed the notifications, but I didn't open the messages, check the details. It wasn't money I sent, and I didn't concern myself with who it came from. Did you see the amounts of the money and the incoming notifications? Once I got curious and checked, but there was numbers I couldn't make sense of. I thought it was a mistake. The IP address doesn't correspond with either one of those. It starts with 172, then it's 164, then it's 254. It doesn't correspond with either one. She doesn't have 164 and he doesn't have 254. So the evidence here just doesn't apply here. Okay. I don't know what to do. Unless I'm just dumb. Right? Because this one is set 172. Then 000. Wait, no, I got it wrong. I'm dumb. I thought it was this one. It's this one. It's 14. 142541. It's Liz. It's Liz. Sorry, guys. I'm dumb. Sorry, I had to recheck that. And my camera's also kind of sideways. I'm dumb. I'm dumb. Liz is guilty. So first you, Ethan. Not guilty. Then Liz, do you have a criminal record? No, you don't. And we're looking at cybercrimes? Cybercrime. 4 years. $2,700. I can't wait for this loan to be paid off. Oh, it got paid off! I have more money! Let's go. Gato! Okay. Let's end the day. I know that if you go here, applications and shop, that yeah. Cat toy. Okay. Let's get straight into it. Stephen Morrow and Tony Wynn. Don't forget these names. If these people are convicted of the crimes they are being tried for, you'll be walking through life looking at that damn ass. Looking at that damn ass for the rest of your life. Okay. I don't give a heck, bro. Both passed their mental health test. They're both under 50. Okay, cool. Man, y'all are crazy. Human trafficking, and you both got criminal records. Human trafficking, organized prostitution activities. Last month, a person named Mira Fallon reported to the police that Tony Wynn and Stephen Morrow forced her into prostitution. Following this tip-off, the police tracked Tony Wynn and Stephen Morrow, suspecting that they were organizing a prostitute ring. Thanks to the listening device placed on Mira Fallon, it was discovered that individuals were smuggling immigrant women from neighboring countries into the country illegal by sea. Tony Wynn and Stephen Morrow have been arrested and taken into custody. I wanted to work in another country because I couldn't find a job in my own. I wanted to come to the Republic of Bananas through a friend I met, Stephen Morrow and Tony Wynn. They told me they were entrepreneurs who would help me enter the country and arrange work for me. In exchange, they asked me for a large sum of money. I believed them and accepted. We were brought into the country by cargo ships with a large group of people. Later, I was offered a job to spend time with some businessmen at a hotel. At first, I thought I could make some money and expand my network, so I accepted. Then they asked me to engage in prostitution. I was blackmailed and had to do it. Did you detain a businessman like me over a few rumors? I export and bring money to this country. We are a company providing international consulting. We guide people who come to this country. I have nothing to do with prostitution or human trafficking. I know my rights. I will not give a statement. I will only speak in front of the court. None of these accusations reflect the truth. It is entirely a smear campaign against our company. If that's true, then why is someone trying to coerce me into letting you go? The fake passports and identification documents found in the house of Stephen Moore and Tony Wynn during the operation. There is one digital evidence for this case. Audio recordings from the listening device placed on Mira Fallon. Okay, they're guilty. They're guilty. Okay, so we got two criminals here. What charges are we looking at? Human trafficking and smuggling? Human trafficking, organized prostitution activities. How old are they? I forgot to check. 36 and 44. Okay, cool. Alright, let's see. Human trafficking, 12 years. And... wait, was that also there? No, it's not. Absence, cyber crimes, crimes against the state, organized crimes. 20 plus a 500,000. So 20 plus 500,000 plus 12, so 32 plus 500,000. Man, I can't believe these guys just think they're gonna get away with this, man. You know? It's crazy. No one needs my money? Cool. We're gonna go outside and go to the casino. Woo! We're leaving. That $50 is mine. You're not taking it back. All right, let's end the day. Economic crisis is increasing. As a result of the depression caused by economic crisis, people took to the streets. The government, on the other hand, targeted the mafia as responsible for these protests and said that it organized people. Okay. Oh my god. What's happening here? The matter of the late Aurelian von Kessler's inheritance being unable to be divided among his 3 daughters and being taken to court. Okay. The deceased attorneys, Mr. Atenius. Okay. After his death, the late Aurelian von Kessler left a vast inheritance worth a total of 131,502,400 to his 3 daughters. Aurelian informed his lawyer during his lifetime that he would distribute his assets via a will. However, he passed away due to a sudden heart attack while preparing the will, before the document could be completed. Due to this uncertainty, the late individual's lawyer, Dr. Matteo Elrich, has taken the matter to court. I leave all my assets to my most beautiful daughter. Oh, buddy. Okay, let's see. It was decided that the inheritance would be left to Alina. Well, technically, since he wasn't able to complete the will technically was never considered a legal document. So it doesn't matter what he wrote on a piece of paper. It's going to be divided between the 3 sisters equally. Gato! Ketoy! Cool. If you do not find the individual named Carl Segment guilty of these charges he is facing, his acquittal will be the end of you. Understand this clearly and make your decision carefully. Okay, Carl Segment. No criminal record. He passed his mental health check and he's a citizen. Inciting hatred and hostility among the public. Details. In recent months, Carl Segment has published posts filled with harsh and proactive content targeting the current government through his social media accounts. These posts were shared by a wide audience in a short time, spreading especially among young and anarchist-leaning groups. Protesters gathered illegally in certain areas of the city center, during which some public property was damaged, traffic came to a standstill, and extensive security measures were implemented across the city. It is alleged that the illegible named Carl Segment has connections to the organized crime group known as the Mafia. Following these developments, Carl Segment was taken into custody in his home. I did not incite anyone to revolt. I merely expressed the economic problems, the governance crisis, and the hardships that people are suffering in this country. What I said is entirely within the scope of freedom of expression. If some people misinterpreted my words, that responsibility does not belong to me. The state's attempt to silence me is nothing more than an effort to cover up the real problems of the people. Well, let's look at what evidence we got, right? Isn't it time to put a stop to this happening? Now is the time to show the power of the people. Let's gather for action tomorrow and show them who's boss. We are gathering for action tomorrow. Just gonna do a little shopping while I'm here. I'm sorry, but there's really not enough evidence to convict this man. And anyways, he's really just expressing himself. There's nothing wrong with that. He's not inciting violence. He's just saying they would gather. And as far as I can tell, nobody said anything about when he was there, him inciting violence by saying anything or anything of the sort. Yeah. $2,800, let's go, baby. I'm that guy. I'm that guy. Your family says they don't get along well with the neighbors and want to move to a new house. If you move to a new home, weekly household expenses will be $2,000. The next week's payment will be at the new price. How much am I currently making? $2,800. So it'd be $2,000 plus the $1,000 that I spend on her car, plus the whatever else I'm spending. So I'm not. Look, sorry guys, I'm not making the kind of money you think I'm making. Maybe if it was a month, but I'm at $2,000 a week. You guys make me drink. You guys make me do this. Alrighty, guys. That's going to be the end of the video. Bye-bye.